Hi everyone, in today's video we're going to learn how to make this underbust corset Basque waistline dress. If that is what you want to learn how to make for yourself, then keep watching this tutorial till the very end as we head straight to the tutorial. So firstly, like you all know, I'll be starting off with my basic bodice front. I have it in full. I actually used this pattern for something before, so I had to tape it down. That is why you're seeing a lot of sketches on it, but do not worry, just focus on the tutorial and I'm going to be explaining properly so you will understand. Now we'll have our basic bodice front. The first thing I'm going to do is to mark downwards from my waistline. I marked 2.5 inches actually, but then I'm going to reduce it. I'm going to take it deeper a little bit. So you just mark that line, and then from your center front on that line, you're going to be marking 1.5 inches like so. At this point, if you haven't subscribed to this channel, please do want to subscribe, like this video, click the bell notification icon so you'll be notified whenever I post lovely tutorials like this, and do not forget to share this video to other sewing platforms where you feel they will be needed. Thank you. So I'm joining that point to my waistline, as you can see me doing in this video. Now I decided to bring it lower, like I told you guys. I brought it lower to 4 inches, and I think that is okay. You don't have to do too much so it doesn't look funny. 4 inches, and I think that is okay. Also 1.5 inches like so. Then I went ahead to join that point to my waistline. So having joined it to my waistline, this is what it is looking like. The next thing we're going to do is to go in with my scissors and cut it out, so we can separate the upper part from the lower part. And this is what the pattern looks like. So we're going to be working on the upper part now. The first thing I'm going to do now on the upper part is to reduce my neckline, or the neckline intake. I'll be removing 1.5 inches. Remember, the neckline is on the basic, as if you want to make a shirt or a turtleneck. So I took out 1.5 inches, and for the depth, I reduced it by 6 inches, okay? Then I'm going to be joining with my ruler those 2 points together to form a V neckline. Actually, a deep V neckline, right? So this is what it looks like. And going in with my scissors, we'll go ahead to cut out the neckline. So this is what your pattern should be looking at this point. Now I'm trying to draw in that corset effect. Now remember, you're supposed to use your bust circumference measurement, which is distance between your bust point and your underbust. So at this point I started imputing it. Mine is 3 inches, and I'm going ahead to impute the 3 inches all the way around like this. Now you can extend this to get to your chest line, but I did not extend mine to the chest line. You can extend yours to get to your chest line for easy sewing. The chest line is that very first line close to the armhole. You can extend yours to that point, but I did not extend mine. The reason I asked you to extend it is to make your sewing easier for you. So at this point, this is what we have right now, and this is what your pattern should look like at this point. I'm going to be contouring my underbust. Now the contour for the underbust and that of the contour for the underbust when you're making a corset and that of a bustier is not the same. Already there is a cut at the underbust for a corset, but for a bustier it is just running all the way down without any cut at the underbust. So I contour the underbust by just ½ an inch on both sides for a corset, whereas for a bustier we use 1 inch on both sides. So that is all for the contouring of the underbust. Now remember, I said the neckline is a deep neckline, and we don't want it to gap. So I had to bring back that portion of the neckline that I cut out, and I went ahead to contour my neck so that it does not gap. As you can see, the picture on top of the screen, it is fitted closely and is not gapping anywhere. After I drew that contoured line, I marked in my bust arc, which is distance between your bust point to your underbust, 3 inches. I marked in my bust arc, and on top of the bust arc, I'm going to be marking ½ inch, which is going to serve as my dart for the contour guide, for the contour dart of the neckline. So I went ahead to join it all the way like so. And of course, I made a line, a small dash inside it to indicate that this is my contour dart for the neckline. Like I said, this dart is going to help it not to gap. So your pattern should be looking like this at this point, I went ahead to take out that part. Okay, I went ahead to detach it because we don't need it. I only brought it back to help me with the contour. Now I'm going to be cutting open my side bust dart. Please side bust dart. That is what I'm cutting open now. My side bust dart. Then I'm going ahead now to cut open my contour dart. The reason I cut open the side bust dart first before the contour dart is so that by the time I close this contour dart, we're going to transfer that dart to the side bust dart. And of course, I went ahead to close it up and tape it down with my tape. We've transferred the dart excess to the side bust dart. Now, for this part that is open, you're going to drew it like when you're cutting on your fabric, just cut it like, cut it. Use your chalk to mark it together and close it up. Do not cut out anything. Just close it up on your fabric when you're cutting. So I'm going to be taping this part together now to help me cut out my corset form properly. Then I'll go ahead and start cutting out the corset part of it. So this is what it looks like. I'll cut open my side bust dart. Remember the side bust dart that we taped, we closed? I'm going to be cutting it open. And at this point, this is what your pattern should be looking like. I'm going to be cutting out this dart, the dart that ran from the bust point to the underbust. Then I went ahead to close my side bust dart again. Please do not get confused. It's actually very simple. Then I had to cut out this part, that dart. I had to cut it out. Okay. Then I taped this down so that, everything is nice and I don't lose any part of my pattern. Also, the darts that run from the underbust to the waist and beyond for the basque effects, that dart, we're going to be cutting it out on this part of the pattern. So this is what the pattern looks like at this point. Now I'm going to be using a princess dart or a princess seam, whichever one you call it. I'm going to be using a princess dart or a princess seam. So any point from your armhole, you want to draw in your style line to meet the bust point, like so, as you can see me doing here. Now the next thing we're going to do is again, cut open your side bust dart. Again, cut open your side bust dart. Now we are cutting open the side bust dart because of course that is how to form your princess dart combination of two darts. So it's the side bust dart we are going to be using, where we close up the side bust dart and transfer the excess to the style line at the armhole area to form the princess dart. Now you want to take note that you already have a dart that is open at your underbust to your bust point. So you want to maintain that part, as you can see me doing, maintain that dart while closing that of your side bust dart and then transferring only the dart of the side bust dart to the style line for your armhole princess dart. And having done that, we had to cut it out to separate it, and I'm kind of shaping this part of the bust so we have something natural for our bust area. And at the end of it, this is what your pattern should look like for this design. This is what your pattern should look like for this design. So these are all the patterns for the upper scale front bodies. For the upper front bodies. Now, getting to the lower front bodies is very simple, but there is something. You see the way that dress is at the hip part of it. I exaggerated the hip of this dress. I'm actually slim, and that is not my, So I exaggerated the hip part of it. What you have to do is to attach a fresh pattern paper by the side, and on your hip line, you go ahead to mark 1.5 inches. So I'm going ahead to mark like so, and then you will connect it from your waist. I'm trying to give you the curved shape. Okay, I'm just trying to give you the curved shape. You connect it from your waist to that point of the hip, then from that point to your hemline. Actually, the measurement for my hemline is the measurement for my actual hip, not the exaggerated hip. Measurement for my actual hip. If you use that of the exaggerated hip, you'll be having more free, your hemline is going to be more free than mine. Mine looks like it's kind of pencil. So yours is going to be free more than mine. So it's up to you what you want. But here I used my actual hip measurement for my hemline. And at this point, this is what it looks like. So we'll go ahead and cut it out. Cut out the parts that we don't need, the excesses that we do not need. And this is the pattern for your front lower bodice for this design, okay? Now heading over to the back, we're not going to be doing too much. Already the front, there's a lot going on there. So the back, I'm keeping it simple as possible. I'm using the shoulder of the front pattern to through that of the back because I actually forgot how many inches I removed and I checked it, it was 1.5 inches, okay? So on that 1.5 inches, we're going to be covering it for our neckline. I bored it here. I think it's about 1 inch, but you can do whatever, it's fine for you. Then I'm cutting out the waist dart. We're just going to be sewing it. There's no princess dart, whatever at the back. We're just going to be sewing it up. And after that, this is what your back pattern looks like. This is what the back pattern looks like. Then heading over to the back pattern for the lower scale, the lower body's back pattern. Same procedure for the front. You're going to be adding 1.5 inches to the hip line for your back. And then using my ruler, I'm going to be joining it together like so. Then from the hip, we're joining it to the hemline. So this is what it looks like, kind of shaping or smoothing or rounding off the sharp edges of the hip and also kind of giving this part a curved shape. And after that, we go ahead and cut it out with our scissors. So that is all for the pattern, and we head to cutting all the patterns on the fabric. Okay, I'm going to be cutting all the patterns for the fabric, which is actually simple. Just place them. Remember the parts which are supposed to be on fold and the parts which are not supposed to be on fold. Now here are the two patterns for the front. This is how you're going to be sewing them. You want to sew this part together first. Okay, I hope you remember this part. Then after sewing it, you will get the lower part of it, which is this part. Please, I hope you remember. Of course, you should, following the pattern drafting. So I actually went ahead to join this part together, but no, that's not the technique or the method. You should sew this part together first. Okay, you should sew this part together first. Then you join everything to that cupped, underbust cupped area. Also, same thing here. You should join these two parts together. Then you sew it to the cupped underbust area. As you can see, you will notice some notches I marked. Make sure you mark notches on your fabric while cutting so you'll be able to align them properly together. And after sewing that, this is what I had. I also went ahead to, use some straps of the Ankara or African print fabric, to make that channel for my boning. Then I went ahead to fix in the boning, okay? I went ahead to fix in the boning to the channel. Make sure your boning channel is wide enough to accommodate your boning. So after that, the next thing we're going to do is to join the front and the back together. We're going to join the front and the back pieces together. Okay, we're going to be joining the front and the back pieces together. So as you can see, that line I already marked my measurements, so I'm going to be shaping them together. Also, we're going to be joining the back and the front of the lower bodies together. Okay, I've already marked them, so I'm going to be joining the back and the front of the lower bodies together. So after joining them together, the next thing you're going to do is to join the front and the upper scale, right? The upper and the lower together. You're going to be joining them together, making sure that all your darts for the up and the lower aligns, including the side seams. Okay, they align. Your center fronts, they align. The darts for the back and the darts for the skirt, upper and lower, everything is in alignment. You want to use a pin and pin this whole thing down. before sewing it. And after that, this is what we have. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.